Hi everyone, welcome back to session 3 of this very important chapter called Animal Kingdom. We classify the animals into diploblastic and triploblastic animals, right? Remember 9 invertebrate phyla. Why these animals have got the name as poriferans, pore bearers? Why? The whole of the body has numerous minute pores. So digestive system and respiratory system are absent here. Welcome back to session 3 of this very important chapter called Animal Kingdom. What did we learn in the last session? As I said, this is a very interesting chapter regarding about animals, right? So as I said, Animal Kingdom is very vast. How are we going to classify this particularly the animals that are found on this planet Earth? We came across many a characteristic feature that is based on certain characteristic features. We classify the animals. What were the characteristic features? For example, like this levels of body organization, where we came across the 4 levels of body organization. What were the 4 levels? Cellular level, that is tissue level, organ level, and organ system level. Many organisms, many animals are restricted to cellular level, some are restricted to tissue level, some are restricted to organ level, and some are having organ system level. So that was also one basis for classification. Next, the body wall. As I said, the body wall is made up of 3 germinal layers: outermost ectoderm, inner endoderm, and middle mesoderm. Based on the presence or absence of these 3 germinal layers, we classify the animals into diploblastic and triploblastic animals, right? So why I am telling all this is very much important for you all to understand the classification as well as when we start with the individual phylums. So diploblastic animals are those animals which are where the body wall is made up of 2 layers: outermost ectoderm, inner endoderm, and in between there is a non-cellular layer called mesoglia. Triploblastic animals are those animals which have where the body wall is made up of 3 germinal layers: outermost ectoderm, inner endoderm, and middle mesoderm. That was also one basis. Next, based on the coelom. What is coelom? Coelom is nothing but the space between the body wall and the alimentary canal. Based on the presence or absence of coelom, we classify the animals into coelomates, that is eucoelomates, acoelomates, and pseudocoelomates, right? Then we came across a very important characteristic feature, that is about cephalization, formation of head. Then next was segmentation of the body. Then next, very important is what? Symmetry. What is symmetry? Whether you are able to cut the body of an animal into 2 equal halves or not. There are some animals where you cannot cut the body of an animal into 2 equal halves in any plane, right? So such animals are called asymmetrical. Then symmetrical animals where you can cut the body of an animal into 2 equal halves. But again, it is divided into 2 types, that is radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. What do you mean by radial symmetry? You can cut the body of an organism into 2 equal halves in more than one plane or one direction. Bilateral symmetry, that is you can cut the body of an animal into 2 equal halves in only one plane. So all these were the basis for classification of animals. So with this knowledge of basis for classification, let us start with the classification of kingdom Animalia. As I said, kingdom Animalia is a very vast kingdom which comprises of a variety of animals. What is the basis for classifying all these animals? As I said, now let us go for the actual classification of the kingdom Animalia. So this entire schematic representation will definitely make you understand about the classification of the animal kingdom. So as I said, the whole of the animal kingdom is divided into protozoa and metazoa. What is the basis for classifying them into protozoa and metazoa? That is, all protozoans include what? The unicellular organisms, that is protista. Protozoa are the animals, not porifera, it is protozoa. Phylum Protozoa. So protozoa includes what? All unicellular organisms. Then metazoa includes what? All multicellular organisms. So the whole of the kingdom Animalia is divided into unicellular organism and multicellular organisms. Then Multicellular, what do you mean by multicellular? As I said, multicellular organisms have what? Millions of cells. Plants and animals come under what? Multicellular organisms. So, further the multicellular organisms are divided into two branches. What is that? Parazoa and Eumetazoa. First, animal kingdom is divided into unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms are again divided into two branches. What is that branch one called? Parazoa. Parazoa includes what? That is cellular level of organization. So, their body is restricted to what level? Cellular level. Then Eumetazoa includes what? Includes those organisms where the body level is having either tissue or organ level or that is organ level of body organization. What is the example you are going to give for cellular level of organization? That is Porifera. Their protozoa, here it is Porifera. Then Eumetazoa is divided into two divisions. What are the two divisions? It is called Diploblastica radiata, Triploblastica bilateria. What do you mean by diploblastic? Already I explained. What is diploblastic animals? Those animals where the body wall has two layers, two germinal layers, outermost ectoderm, inner endoderm. Then radiata, radially symmetrical. You can cut the body of an animal into two equal halves in more than one plane. So, the next division 1 is what? Diploblastica radiata. Division 2 is what? This is first division, this is first branch, this is second branch. So, division, this is first division and this is second division. So, Diploblastica and radially symmetrical animal. Phylum Coelenterata and phylum Ctenophora come under this division called Diploblastica radiata. For Parazoa, that is cellular level of organization, Porifera. Then here Triploblastica bilateria, triploblastic animals, bilaterally symmetrical animals. Again, this triploblastic bilateral symmetrical animals are divided into two grades. Here branch into division, division into two grades. What are they? Pseudocoelomates. False coelom is present. That is, the body wall is not lined by a mesoderm. Already we have studied about coelom. Coelom is what? Space between the body wall and the alimentary canal lined by mesoderm. You call them as eucoelomates, true coelomates. True coelomates. True coelomates. So, false coelom is present. Phylum Aschelminths is the example. Right? Then here, as I said, Acoelomata, phylum Platyhelminths. Without coelom. Acoelom means what? Without coelom. What is coelom? Space between the body wall and the alimentary canal. So, this forms the basis. What are the two grades here? Grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3. Grade 1 is called Acoelomata without coelom. Grade 2 Pseudocoelomates, that is false coelom. For Acoelomata, example is phylum Platyhelminths. Then for eucoelomates, true coelom present. What are the phylums? Phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So this is the classification of the kingdom Animalia. I'll repeat. So here it is Protozoa, phylum Protozoa, not Porifera. Then Protozoa, Metazoa, that is unicellular, multicellular. Then again it is divided into two branches. What are the two branches? Parazoa, Eumetazoa. That is one first branch, second branch. What is the basis here? They are having what level of organization? Cellular level of organ. Which is the phylum? Classical example you are going to give for Parazoa, Porifera. Then Eumetazoa, they have tissue, organ level of organization. Then they are divided into two divisions. Division 1 called Diploblastica radiata. Example, phylum Coelenterata, phylum Ctenophora. Then Triploblastica and bilateria. That is, it is again divided into three grades. What are the three grades? One is called Acoelomata, second one is called Pseudocoelomata, and third one is called Eucoelomata. Based on the presence or absence of the coelom and based whether it is lined by mesoderm, we classify them. Acoelomates, example phylum Platyhelminths. Then for pseudocoelomates, phylum Aschelminths. For true coeloms, Eucoelomata can also be called as what? True coeloms. Phylum Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So this is a general classification of kingdom Animalia. Only if you know this classification, then based on this classification we are going to start with all the phyla. Today I will be starting with the first phyla called Porifera. Porifera belongs to which branch? Parazoa. And what level of body organization it is having? Cellular level of organization. So each and every phyla I am going to discuss in the coming sessions also. So you will have a clear-cut idea about what is the classification of kingdom Animalia. So you need to understand this and practice writing this. This may also be asked in the examination. Write the systematic classification of kingdom Animalia. So this is the whole, so this is a broad classification of kingdom Animalia which will make you understand about the animal kingdom. So moving on to the first phylum. Before I go to the first phylum, I will write the classification, right? So here, phylum Invertebrata is main phylum Invertebrata has phylums like, what do you mean by invertebrate? Lower organisms. Those organisms which do not have a backbone or a vertebral column are called invertebrates. So what are the 9 phyla which you are going to study here? Phylum, it starts with phylum Porifera, 2 phylum Coelenterata, 3 phylum Ctenophora, 4 phylum Platyhelminths, 5 phylum Aschelminths, 6 phylum Annelida, 7 phylum Arthropoda, 8 phylum Mollusca, and 9 phylum Echinodermata. So these are all the invertebrate phyla. How many phyla we are going to study? 9 phyla. Right? Remember, 9 invertebrate phyla. Vertebrate phyla, you have 5 classes. Class Amphibia, class Fishes, class Reptilia, class Aves and class Mammals. So invertebrata, so vertebrate phylum Vertebrata is having 5 classes. Is divided into 5 classes. Class Amphibia, class Fishes, class Reptilia, class Aves, and last one is class Mammalia. Class Mammalia. So what are the 9 phyla, invertebrate phyla? We are going to start with the first phyla called Porifera. So what are so the whole of the animal kingdom is divided into phylum Invertebrata, phylum Vertebrata. What is the basis for classifying them into invertebrates and vertebrates? Based on the presence or absence of vertebral column, backbone, the supporting structure for our body. So invertebrates without vertebral column, they are called invertebrates. Invertebrate phyla includes how many phylums? Main phylum, that is 9 phylum, starting from what? Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminths, Aschelminths, then Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca and Echinodermata. Vertebrata includes 5 classes. What are the 5 classes? Class Amphibia, class Fishes, class Reptilia, class Aves and class Mammalia. Right? So Porifera. The whole animal kingdom starts with what? Porifera, pore bearers. The whole of the body has minute pores called ostia, hence the name Porifera. Coelentrates are also called Cnidaria. They have a specialized cells called cnidoblasts. Then ctenophorans, they emit what? A very important property called bioluminescence, right? Then platyhelminths, flatworms, where the body is dorsoventrally compressed. Aschelminths, roundworms. Right, then Annelida, where the body is divided into annular rings. Then arthropoda, jointed legged animals. Then mollusca, soft bodied animals. And again, molluscans are again broadly classified into shelled animals and non-shelled animals. Echinodermata, spiny skinned animals, right? So these are the 9 phyla. Hope you have understood. We'll start off with the first phyla. So in each session I'll be starting with each phyla so that you will be able to understand what are the characteristic features of each phyla of the animal kingdom. Moving on to the first phylum called Porifera. As I said, Porifera, you split the word. When you split the word called Porifera, pore bearers. Porferens are bearers. You may wonder, what is this pore bearer? The whole of the body is made up of small pores, and those pores are called ostia. And you know what is the function of these small pores? The entry and exit of water, as you know, these are aquatic animals, will take place through this ostia. Hence the name pore bearers. They are called poriferans, means what? Pore bearers. They are also commonly called as what? Sponges. They are also called as sponges. Now let us start with the characteristic features. So each phylum has a specific characteristic features. So already we have studied about the basis for classification. So all that basis is going to help you out. The knowledge of those bases of classification is also applied here. So you can understand what will be the characteristic features of each phylum. So let us start with the first and foremost characteristic feature of phylum Porifera. As I said, there are 9 invertebrate phyla and 5 vertebrate classes. So it is very difficult to remember all the points. So continuous reading, and also very important is what? Examples. You have to explain the characteristic feature of a particular phylum with suitable examples. Examples are also very important. So description part along with examples is very important. Otherwise you may lose marks. So make it a point and try to remember all the, because there are so many different characteristic features from varying from one phyla to another phyla. So that is the reason, as I said, you should concentrate on the points what we are going to discuss for the each phyla. Let me start with the first characteristic feature, that is they are exclusively aquatic forms. What do you mean by aquatic forms? They live in water. Water means, again, there is 2 types of water. One is called marine water, the other one is called fresh water. Sea water is called marine water. Fresh water may be pond, lakes, rivers, is called as fresh water. So they are exclusively aquatic forms. Majority of them are marine forms. What do you mean by that? Most of the organisms belonging to this phylum Porifera are marine forms, live in sea water. A very few of them are freshwater forms. For example, like Spongilla. Spongilla is the one which is a freshwater form. What do you mean by freshwater form? In fresh waters, that is pond, lakes, rivers, right? This is a freshwater form. So what is the first very important characteristic feature to be remembered for phylum Porifera? As I said, phylum Porifera means what? The first very important point for you all to remember is what? Poriferens means what? Pore bearers. What do you mean by pore bearers? The whole of the body is made up of minute pores called ostia. Hence the name Porifera. What is the first characteristic feature? They are exclusively aquatic forms, and majority of them are marine forms, and a few are freshwater form. What is that which is a freshwater form? Spongilla. Hope you have understood. You remember it belongs to which phylum? Parazoa, that is cellular level. They are multicellular, but the cells are restricted to only to cellular level. So they are multicellular organisms but exhibit cellular level of organization. Hope you remember when I explained about the levels of body organization. Some animals are restricted to cellular level, some are restricted to tissue level, some are restricted to organ level, some are restricted to organ system level, but these are restricted to what level? Cellular level. Very important point to be written for the characteristic feature of phylum Porifera. That is, what is the first point? They are exclusively aquatic forms. Majority of them are marine forms, and a few of them are freshwater forms, and they are multicellular organism, but their body is restricted or exhibit what level? Cellular level. And very important third point, the body of sponges is asymmetrical. So when we studied about one basis called body symmetry, we studied about asymmetrical animals and symmetrical animals. Symmetrical animals, you can cut the body into 2 equal halves. right? Here the animal's body cannot be cut into equal halves in any plane or in any direction, hence the name asymmetrical. Hope you are understanding each and every point, characteristic feature of phylum Porifera. Right, very important point. As I said, there are 9 phyla, invertebrate phyla, and it is very difficult for you all to remember all the points. So just make it, be keen on the points what I am going to explain. So for next, as I said, they are asymmetrical. The body cannot be divided into 2 equal halves in any plane. Next, the body wall is made up of outer dermal layer. The outer dermal layer, it is called outer dermal layer called pinacoderm, and inner gastral layer called coenoderm. Here the body wall is made up of outer dermal layer called pinacoderm. What is the outer body wall called? Pinacoderm. What is the inner body wall called? Gastral layer. That is called, dermal layer is called pinacoderm. Gastral layer is called coenoderm. Pinacoderm is made up of cells called pinacocytes, and coenoderm is made up of cells called coenocytes or collar cells, right? So this is also a very important point to be learned. So what is the first very important characteristic feature? They are exclusively aquatic forms. A majority of them are marine forms. A few are freshwater forms. Then they are what? Multicellular organisms, but exhibit what level? Cellular level of organization. And they are asymmetrical animals. You cannot cut the body of the animals into 2 equal halves in any plane. And the body wall is made up of outer dermal layer. What is that outer dermal layer called? Pinacoderm. Made up of what type of cells? Pinacocytes. Then inner gastral layer, outer dermal layer, inner gastral layer. Outer dermal layer is called pinacoderm, inner gastral layer is called coenoderm. Their pinacoderm is made up of pinacocyte cells called pinacocyte cells, and here it is coenoderm is made up of coenocytes or collar cells. Here you can see. Hope you have understood the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very important characteristic features. Moving on to the next very important characteristic features of phylum Porifera. Right. Now, the point that is pinacoderm, already I said it is made up of pinacocyte cells, and coenoderm is made up of coenocyte cells or collar cell. And as I said, the whole of the body surface consists of numerous pores, minute openings. And what do you call that pores as? Ostia. Already I told you why the name Porifera has come. Why these animals have got the name as poriferans, pore bearers? Why? The whole of the body has numerous minute pores. What do you call those pores as? Ostia. And what is the function of this ostia through which water enter into the spongocoel, in which water flows, is called water canal system. If you take an example of a cycon. Here you can see the whole of the body is made up of minute pores. These pores are called ostia, and this is called gastrocele. It is called as, this opening is called osculum. The osculum, and this osculum is the only opening, that is, you can call it as incomplete digestive system, where there is only one opening called osculum, where the exit and entry of water takes place through this osculum only. So osculum acts as a mouth for this organism, and there is a cavity. This cavity is called spongocoel. As I said, these are called as what? Sponges. So it is called spongocoel, which opens to the exit. So this spongocoel opens to the exterior by osculum. Right. So what do you call that cavity? Body cavity is called as spongocoel. The whole of the body is covered by minute, what do you call it, at minute pores called as ostia. Right. You can see in this beautiful picture. Right. Then which as I said, and inner gastral layer encloses a cavity called spongocoel. As I said, this is a sponge which opens to the exterior by osculum. So, as I said, the body surface consists of what? Numerous pores called what? Ostia, through which water enters into the spongocoel. What is the spongocoel? Body cavity. The body cavity is called as what? Spongo. So, this body cavity is called as what? Spongocoel. Which opens to the exterior by osculum. What is osculum? It is the opening which acts as a mouth. and they possess an internal skeleton in the form of needles called spicules. Very, very important. Just like how we have skeleton system, here the skeleton system consists of needle-like structures called spicules. Like how we have a skeleton system. What is the function of skeleton system? It is a supporting structure. So here also, these animals, as I said, these are lower organisms. Why are they called as lower organism? Because they are small? No, because they have a simpler body organization compared to higher animals. Hence the name simple, lower organisms. So they don't have a specific organ system here. As I said, their body is restricted to what level? Only to the cellular level. They are multicellular. Cells are there, but cells don't group into tissues. Only when tissues group, then only organs is formed. Then group of organs make an organ system. So they don't have a definite skeleton system like what we have in our body, but they do have a specialized skeletal structures, needle-like structures called spicules. And these spicules are either made up of calcium when they are called as calcareous, or they are made up of spongin fibers. This also forms a basis for classifying them into different classes called class Calcarea, class Demospongia, right? So that is, they possess an internal skeleton in the form of needles-like structures called spicules or spongin fibers. So what is this spicules? May be either calcareous or siliceous. Silica, made up of silica. Either it is made up of calcium, then spongin, then siliceous. So these spicules are either made up of calcium when you call it as calcareous, or made up of spongin fibers when you call it as demospongia, or siliceous made up of silica. So this also is a very, very important characteristic feature of phylum Porifera. What is it? The whole of the body is made up of minute pores called ostia, through which water enter into the spongocyl. What is spongocyl? The body cavity. And what do you call that whole system as? Water canal system. And as I said, they possess an internal skeleton called what? Spicules, which opens to the exterior by osculum. And these spicules are chemically made up of either calcium, or they may be made up of spongin fibers, or they might be made up of siliceous. So they also form, and what are these spicules? They are nothing but the skeletal structures in this phylum Porifera. So moving on to the next characteristic feature, and digestion is intracellular, within the cell. As I said, there is no tissue system, no organ systems, so digestive system and respiratory system are absent here. So there is no specialized respiratory and excretory structures. So digestion is intracellular. Next very important characteristics, they are hermaphrodites. What do you mean by hermaphrodites? Hope you remember we studied that hermaphrodite means what? Bisexuality. In animals we use the word called hermaphrodites, where one single individual or single organism will have both the male and the female reproductive organs. That is, a single organism or a single individual organism will have both the male and the female reproductive structures, and that feature is called hermaphrodites. Right. Now, next they have very important structures called gemmules. Gemmules are called internal buds. They are called internal buds found in sponges. Gemmules, very, very important. This is usually asked in the question paper, right, in the exam. What are gemmules? Gemmules are internal buds in sponges. What are internal buds? Particularly when the climatic conditions are adverse. So they develop internal buds like this. These are the spicules. This is called gemmule. Here you can see the spore-like structures. So this formation is called as, and these are called as what? Internal buds. Internal buds. So on the return of the favorable climatic condition, then the sponge will start reproducing by asexual method. So they are called as asexual structures. Right. Then there are no specialized respiratory and excretory structures. So as I said, their body is restricted to what level? Only cellular level. no tissue system, no organ system, no organs and no organ system. So with whatever limited the facility they have, they carry on their body activities. So there is no specialized respiratory and excretory system, but as I said, the osculum will serve as what? Exit and entry of water, and through which even the excretory organs, excretory matter also flows out of the body. Next, reproduction is both by asexual and sexual method. Asexual method is by the formation of gemmules, already I said. Sexual method by the fusion of the gametes. And very important, development is indirect, having larval stage. Very important feature. So here we classify development into direct and indirect. What do you mean by direct development and indirect development? If at all the animal, in the life history of an animal, there is a larval stage. There is an inclusive of larval stage. Such a development is called indirect. For example, all of you might have come across frog, right? Frog, it lays eggs. Eggs hatch into larva. Larva will become an adult. The larval stage of frog is called tadpole larva. So it has a larval stage in the life history. Human beings, direct. Human beings don't have a larval stage in the life history. So direct development and indirect development. This is also a very important characteristic feature for classifying the animals. So here the development is what? That is development is indirect, having what? Larval stage called, what is the larval stage called? Amphiblastula. In frog, the larval stage is called tadpole larva, or it is also called and parenchyma, and they exhibit high degree of regeneration. Very important. What do you mean by high degree of regeneration? If any body part is cut, it regenerates, it regrows into a new part. So that is a very important characteristic feature of this poriferans. So they exhibit what? High degree of regeneration. So what are the other characteristic features? Digestion is intracellular. Then they are hermaphrodites, having both male and female reproductive organs in the same individual. They have internal buds called gemmules, and there are no specialized respiratory and excretory structures. Reproduction is both by asexual and sexual method. Asexual method is by the process of formation of gemmules. Gemmules are what? Internal buds, which will help the animal to overcome the adverse or unfavorable climatic conditions. Then sexual reproduction is by fusion of gametes. Development is indirect. Why it is called indirect? It has a larval stage in the life history. What is that larval stage called? Amphiblastula, or it is and one more called parenchyma. Then they exhibit what? High degree of regeneration. What do you mean by high degree of regeneration? If any body part is cut, it regenerates, it regrows again, right? What is a classical example? Cycon, Cypha, Euplectella, Venus flower basket. You can see the beautiful picture here. It is called Venus flower basket. It looks like, flower vase. See how beautiful this picture is. So it is Venus flower basket. Then we have Hyloneuma called glass sponge. Then Spongilla. As I said, the only one which is freshwater form is called Spongilla. That is freshwater sponge. Then Euspongia, which is also called as bath sponge. All these are the examples. So what are the examples? Cycon. Cycon is also called Scypha. Then Euplectella, that is Venus flower basket. Hyloneuma, that is the glass sponge. Spongilla, that is the freshwater sponge. Then Euspongia, that is the bath sponge. So this is a picture of what? Venus flower basket. So all these are the very important characteristic features. So once again, I think we'll just go through the characteristic features. So they are what? Exclusively aquatic forms. Majority of them are marine forms, and a few are freshwater forms. They are multicellular organisms. Exhibit what? Cellular level of organization. The body of sponges is asymmetrical, and the body wall is made up of outer layer called pinacoderm, made up of pinacocytes. Then inner layer, gastral layer, made up of choanoderm, made up of choanocytes. Then next, as I said, the body surface consists of what? Numerous pores called ostia, through which water enters into the spongocyl, in which water flows is called as water canal system. Inner gastral layer encloses a cavity called spongocyl, which opens to the exterior by the osculum. They possess an internal skeleton in the form of what? Spicules, which form what? The skeletal structures, which are the supporting structures for them. These are all lower animals. They have a minimum body organization. So they have spicules as their skeletal structures, and these spicules may be either made up of calcium or spongin or silica. Then As I said, the digestion is intracellular within the cell. Then they are hermaphrodites, having both male and female reproductive structures in the same individual, and they reproduce both by asexual and sexual method. Asexual method by the process of formation of gamules. Gamules are nothing but the internal buds in the sponges, and particularly to overcome the adverse climatic conditions. So there are no specialized respiratory and excretory system. As I said, reproduction is both by asexual and sexual method, and asexual method is by the process of formation of gamules called internal buds, and sexual method by the fusion of gametes. Development is indirect. Why the development is called indirect? Because there is an inclusive of a larval stage in the life history of these animals, and they include a larval stage called amphiblastula or parenchyma, and a very important is what? They exhibit high degree of regeneration. That is, if any part of the body is cut, it regenerates or regrows. So what are the examples? Cycon is also called Scypha, then Euplectala, that is Venus flower basket, Hyalonema, that is glass sponge, Spongilla, which is the only, majority of them are marine forms except for Spongilla, which is a freshwater sponge, the new Spongia called bath sponge. Hope you have understood all the characteristic features of phylum Porifera. Hope you have understood the general classification of animal kingdom, which was the first slide. Until and unless you understand the general classification, it is very difficult for you all to understand the different phyla. So as I said, the whole of the animal kingdom is divided into phylum Invertebrata and phylum Vertebrata. What is the basis for classifying them into invertebrate? In means what? Without. Vertebrates means what? With. So invertebrate and vertebrate, invertebrates means what? Without a vertebral column. Vertebrates with a vertebral column. So invertebrate phyla are 9 phyla. What are they? Starting with phylum Porifera, then Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminths, Aschelminths, Annelida, then Arthropoda, Mollusca, and Echinodermata. What are the 5 classes of vertebrata which I am going to deal in the coming sessions also? That is class Amphibia, class fishes, class Aves, class Reptilia, and class Mammalia. So today I started with the first very important phylum, that is phylum Porifera. So in the coming session I will be starting with phylum Coelenterata. So on like each session I will be dealing with each phylum with classical examples. So as I said, remembering the characteristic feature of each phyla is quite difficult, but constant reading will definitely help you to remember the points along with the classical examples for each phyla. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in today's session. So I will be back again with one more very interesting phylum with good examples, with good pictures. So till then, goodbye and thank you.